The Yankees win their fourth straight series to start the 2023 season. They improved to 8-4, and they are now 4-0 in rubber games. So that's impressive. The fact that really all four series happened to be a situation where that third game determined who won the series, and each time, all four times, the Yankees won. This was a very interesting series. You had the first and third games that were close and could have went either way. Yankees lose the first one, they win the third one, and then the second game was an absolute blowout that the Yankees destroyed the Cleveland Guardians. So this was a rematch of the American League Division Series from last year, which went to the distance of 5 games. And look, Cleveland is a very pesky team. Cleveland, if you make mistakes, they'll make you pay. They're just a sound club in terms of, defensively, although, there were some mistakes made, but, they make contact, they don't strike out a whole lot. And, that third game, this final game today, the rubber game, looked like Cleveland was going to win it after just a horrific job by the umps in the first inning. I'll first say this, they got the call right. And Aaron Hicks did not catch the ball. We'll talk about Aaron Hicks. He drives me nuts, but that's nothing new. But they got the right call was made, but it was absolutely wrong the way it was done. Terry Francona even admitted he didn't challenge it. He did not even challenge whether Hicks caught the ball. There was a lot going on in that play. We'll get to that when we get there. It was just done horrifically bad by the umps, by Larry Vanover, who unfortunately got hurt in this game as well later in the game, Chris Guccione, the whole crew, just a terrible job. It was way past 15 seconds. There's really no explanation that they could explain that would make sense to me. But the Yankees are able to overcome that. And Franchy Cordero is a story. Franchy Cordero is absolutely a storyline. And it kind of reminds you of Matt Carpenter. It really is a Matt Carpenter type situation. Do I think it's sustainable over the course of the whole season? No, but Cordero is always someone that has been seen as, someone that's got a lot of power potential. And has really had an underwhelming start to his career. Came up with the Padres, moved on to the Royals, was traded to the Red Sox in the Andrew Benintendi deal. Didn't really have much success in Boston, then has a great spring training with Baltimore, but doesn't make the team, and the Yankees pick him up. And that's where I'll give Cashman credit, is he is able to make these moves, these under-the-radar guys that can really impact the team. And, you look at this Yankee club, who's off to a good start. Cordero has the tied for the most runs with Judge, in a lot less plate appearances, and he has the most RBIs. Again, in a lot less at-bats. He's doing well. He's doing really well. And so, Gleyber obviously, after that first homestand, was sort of the story. Now, Franchy Cordero kind of is a headline. So he deserves a ton of credit. But let's just get right into this. And again, this was a very interesting series. The injuries continue to pile up a little bit for the Yanks. Want to bring that back up. Where at the end of the series, DJ LeMahieu is dealing with some quad tightness. So, he didn't start the first game. I think that was a planned thing. But then he didn't start the third game either. And that for sure was not planned, especially the fact that Gleyber Torres also did not start this game. He did come in as a pinch runner, which is a good sign. He had some groin tightness. But Gleyber appears to be, good. But for DJ, we'll see. I don't think it's anything too concerning, but he is, he was out, and we'll see how things go when they head back to the Bronx. But let's talk about this Yankees-Guardians series. So Game 1 is Domingo Germán versus Shane Bieber. And that's advantage Cleveland, for sure, right? Definite advantage Cleveland. This was a really rough start for Domingo Germán. I mean, 5 walks, no strikeouts. That's hard to do. That is hard to do. And Germán, that's the sort of inconsistency that he's had in his career, where this, he's got good stuff. He does. I mean, he's a serviceable enough back-end starter. But this wasn't good. And so with Severino and Rodon out, Germán and Schmidt have not really done the job at all. Clark Schmidt, technically this was probably Clark Schmidt's best start of the season today, but not great. And Johnny Brito's done a good job. So you got Cole, Cortez, Brito, who have done well. And if you can somehow replace Herman and Schmidt with Severino and Rodon, then you're talking about something there, but we're not really at that point yet. So Herman struggles. This was frustrating. The Yankees really had a chance to blow this thing open early off of Shane Bieber. Bieber didn't have it. Bieber early did not have it. And then he found it. But let's talk about what happened. Again, DJ LeMahieu not in the lineup in the first game. Willie Calhoun, I guess, was this his debut? No, or maybe he played that last game of the Baltimore series. Let me see. He might have played that last game against Baltimore. No, sorry. This was Willie Calhoun's regular season Yankee debut. And he started the first 2 games and he had a hit in each of the games. But Gleyber leads off with no DJ in the lineup. You got Stanton out in the outfield. Calhoun was a DH in both games. So, they don't really trust Willie out there defensively. But anyway, let's jump in. First inning, the Yankees get off to a good start. Gleyber doubles, Judge walks, and Judge, by the way, continues his on-base streak. I believe it's up to 45 at the end of this series. Although Judge honestly did not really have a great series. He really didn't, but still, he's always going to be one to get on base at least once. And then Anthony Rizzo singles. So you got bases loaded, no out, and Giancarlo Stanton hits a 2-run double, a screamer off the wall. When he first hit it, I was thinking maybe it could have been more than that, but it's a 2-run double, gives the Yankees 2-0 lead, and that was it for the night. The Yankees left a lot of runners on in key spots. The situational baseball was not there in this one. This was a frustrating loss. Willie Calhoun with some bad luck. Calhoun lines out to Jimenez, but then Jose Trevino grounds out to the pitcher Bieber, and they get Rizzo out at home. So that is where that was the main fuck up that inning, was Trevino, and then Franchy Cordero strikes out. So what could have maybe been a 3-0, 4-0 game is still 2-0. Then Herman, pitches a scoreless first inning. And, in the second, bad base running by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Kiner-Falefa is struggling. And I look, here's the difference between, when we talk about Hicks Donaldson and Kiner-Falefa are kind of, I think, the 3 most, I don't know if hated is the right word, but, Yankee fans don't really feel too highly about the 3 of them. I always want to say this with IKF. I like the person with him. He handles himself so well, says all the right things. He's a good guy. He is. But there's just a lot of mistakes that happen with him. There really are. And so what happens with first and second, 1 out, and Judge up, Kiner-Falefa is out at third, where the ball gets by Zunino slightly, and Kiner-Falefa just way too aggressive in that situation. He gets thrown out pretty easily at third, and then Judge strikes out to end the inning. Then in the second, Domingo fucking Herman, he is, as a fielder, horrible. You look at him, and he looks okay, he's slim, he looks kind of athletic. You would think, all right, Domingo Herman's solid fielder. No. Not at all. Because it reminded me. It didn't remind me of anything specific, but it reminded me of times in the past where this guy can't field. Andres Gimenez lead up the second, tries to maybe do a drag bunt, it looked like, and he pops it up. The easiest catch that Herman could ever make, he drops it. But not only does he drop it, he can't even pick up the ball and throw Jimenez out. He just doesn't even touch it. And of course, this leads to a run because Cleveland plays small ball. Jimenez steals second, Bell ground out, and then Jimenez moves over to third, and then a Will Brennan sac fly. Didn't even take a hit, and that run scores, and it makes it 2-1. A really bad job by Herman, not from a pitching standpoint, but defensively. And that inning extended longer than it needed to because Zunino walks, and then, there was an infield hit by Straw. But the Yankees still have the lead coming out of this inning. It's still 2-1. But then Shane Bieber starts to settle down. Herman, with a leadoff walk to Rosario in the third, but comes out of it okay. Let's go to the bottom of the fourth. This is when it all unravels for Domingo Herman. All unravels. Leadoff walk to Josh Bell, walk to Will Brennan, and then an RBI double by Mike Zunino. So it's 2-2, second and third, no out, and that's it for Herman. His day ends at 5 walks, no strikeouts in that bad era. Just not a good outing. You need length, and you're not getting that length from Herman or Schmidt, and that's a problem. So now, Colton Brewer comes on. So Colton Brewer, who I believe this might have been his second appearance as a Yankee. I think it might have been his second, and he does just an absolutely brilliant job. Colton Brewer is kind of lost in this. Does a really nice job. He does walk Miles Straw, but he gets out of it. Stephen Kwan grounds out to Brewer. They get the out at home, and then Rosario double play. So Herman is kind of off the hook. Herman not in line for the loss, and Brewer with a really great job, and he would continue on. It kind of becomes a battle between Bieber and Brewer. Glaber makes a nice play, although Glaber has had, we'll talk about this, some struggles defensively for Glaber lately, but he makes a nice play on Jose Ramirez in the fifth, and Brewer pitches a 1-2-3 fifth. There's a 2-out double by Willie Calhoun and then a ground out by Trevino in the sixth inning, and then Brewer, after a 2-out double by Zunino, ends up, finishing the inning without giving up a run. Franchy Cordero leadoff walk in the seventh. Mind you, Bieber's still in, and then a kind of left a double play. So that hurts, where you might have gotten something going, but IKF double play, and then Volpe flies out. We go to the seventh, and Ian Hamilton comes on. You kind of had no other choice. You kind of had no other choice but to go to Ian Hamilton because, again, remember, the bullpen was used a lot at the end of the Baltimore series. So Brewer went as long as he could. They go to Hamilton, and unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out. Stephen Kwan walks, and that's the first mistake that's made. But then he's still second. And Hamilton should have seen that Kwan was going. Hamilton still has the ball. He should have stepped off. And they could have easily gotten Kwan out. He doesn't see it. And then to make matters worse, Hamilton throws a strike, but the ump just calls it a ball. I don't know what he was seeing, but then he walks him at Rosario. So now it's first and second, and Ramirez grounds out. And in that situation, it becomes first and third, one out. And then Josh Naylor hits a sac fly. So Hamilton, unfortunately, the walks really were his undoing, and it gives Cleveland a 3-2 lead on the Naylor sac fly. We go to the eighth, and this is where this was extremely frustrating. James Karinchak, who is always overly emotional and just quite obnoxious, honestly, but he is a good pitcher. He gives up a leadoff triple to Glaber. This was a play that was not really, was it Straw? I think Straw was the one that messes up here. Or it was either Kwan or Straw, goes for it, and, I think it was Straw in center field. It ends up being a triple, right? If he probably should have just been a little bit more conservative there, taken the single, but he goes for it. And so it's runner on third, no out for Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton. But Judge has a check swing pop out to second, and that kind of set the tone. And then Anthony Rizzo, he's like a guy you so want up there, right? Runner on third, less than 2 outs. Rizzo's one of the guys. A really bad at-bat by Rizzo, got too aggressive and strikes out. Not a good at-bat by Anthony Rizzo, and then Giancarlo Stanton strikes out. So Karinchak, deservedly so, was pumped up. He got out of the big jam. He deserved to be pumped up, but he's just always, he just takes a little bit too far. But hey, he did the job. So Cleveland keeps that 3-2 lead. That was huge, especially knowing that Emmanuel Clase was ready to go in the ninth. In the eighth, I believe Ian Hamilton stayed out there for the eighth and was able to survive it. And look, Cleveland in this game, Cleveland had opportunities to score more runs, and they didn't. So it wasn't just the Yankees with missed opportunities, the Guardians as well. We go to the ninth, and Emmanuel Clase is on. Willie Calhoun strikes out. Then DJ LeMahieu pinch hits for Trevino. He grounds out, and then Franchy Cordero strikes out to end it. So Clase, a very clean, easy ninth to finish it out. But the Yankees would get the better of Clase by the end of this series. But this was a very frustrating loss. No way around it. Let's jump to game two. And so the Yankees, similar to the Baltimore Orioles series, trying to still win a series after losing the first game. Not an easy thing to do. And it just, and I want to say again, that the Yankees going 4-2 at Baltimore and Cleveland is a great, great job by them. That's exactly what I was hoping for, and they got it against two solid teams, not easy teams to beat, and they get the job done. So this is Garrett Cole taking the mound for the Yanks, and on the mound for Cleveland is Hunter Gaddis. I don't know much about him. He, briefly appeared in 2022. And really has not had much major league success at all in his brief time in the majors. But, it's a lopsided advantage to the Yankees. However, they got off to a slow start. Got off to a really slow start in this one. Again, Willie Calhoun DHs, Giancarlo Stanton out of the lineup, Anthony Volpe out of the lineup for the first time this season. He would come in the ninth when Glaber had that groin situation, but Volpe doesn't start for the first time. But, yeah. It is Cole versus Gaddis, and the Yanks get off to a slow start. The Yanks get off to they are down in this one. And let's talk about the top of the first, though. DJ walks, then Judge reaches on an error by Jose Ramirez. So it's first and second. Anthony Rizzo flies out to center, and a bad job by Aaron Judge base running, where LeMahieu easily makes it a third, but then Judge gets thrown out at second. I understand what he was trying to go for, but you got to kind of hold back there. And so then Gleyber, who should have had first and third, one out, has runner on third, two out, and he strikes out. So Gleyber in the cleanup spot in place of Stanton. Then at the bottom of the first, Cole, probably has his worst inning of the season. It wasn't even all that bad. And Gleyber kind of fucked him up. Steven Kwan leadoff single, and then Andres Jimenez, it's ruled a single. I don't know how. I mean, I guess because it didn't touch Gleyber's glove, I guess, but Gleyber could have easily had this, and it could have been a double play. It could have absolutely been a double play for Gleyber. Then the whole inning's different, but it's not. And so it's first and third, no out, and then Jose Ramirez gets an RBI double, makes it 1-0, and then it's the sac fly by Josh Naylor to make it 2-0, but Cole is able to kind of escape out of it. So Josh Bell strikes out with 2 out and a runner on third, so it could have been worse. So that was and I kind of felt that was big. It could have been 3-0. But he strikes out Bell, Will Brennan grounds out, and then the Yankees get going a little bit off of Gaddis. And it was a 1-out single by Oswaldo Cabrera, and he eventually moves to second. Then it's an RBI single by Jose Trevino. Makes it 2-1. And then in the third inning, the Yankees explode, thanks to Franchy Cordero, mainly. Leadoff double DJ LeMahieu. Then you get a strikeout by Judge, and again, it was a bit of a rough series for Aaron Judge. Hit by pitch Rizzo, walk Gleyber. So basically 1 out, an RBI single by Willie Calhoun. And I continue to say I like Willie Calhoun as a hitter. He's a good offensive option. And then Oswaldo Cabrera hits a sac fly. Oswaldo, I'm going to talk about him more in the third game, but Oswaldo, he's just, he's solid. He's just a solid player. So you got 3-2, first and second, 2 out, and Franchy Cordero steps up to the plate, and he crushes a 3-run homer. Cordero does it again, and the home runs he's hit have been big. Each home run he's hit has been significant, and so that gives the Yankees a 6-2 lead, and they would not look back. Cole is in cruise control at this point. Eventually, you get an Anthony Rizzo RBI single. Gleyber Torres grounds a double play that scores a run that makes it 8-2 in the 6th, and Gaddis is long out by now. Anthony Rizzo gets another RBI single, makes it 9-2. Aaron Judge scores on a wild pitch, makes it 10-2. Cole is, again, just putting up zeros, doing a good job. He ends up going 7 innings. So for Cole, 7 innings, 2 runs, and again, it really could have been 7 innings, no runs, but I digress. In the bottom, Albert Abreu would pitch the final 2 innings, and Abreu in low leverage spots has done a nice job. Abreu's got the stuff. He looks good, but, Abreu, is able to handle Cleveland in low leverage situation. And then Willie Calhoun gets a run in on a double play. So the Yankees take an 11-2 lead. Like I said, Gleyber would leave the game in the bottom of the 9th. And again, he would come in as a pinch runner in game 3. So totally fine. Volpe comes in at short. Oswaldo moves over to second. That would be the combination that we'd see in the rubber match. But anyway, the Yankees win at 11-2. Good job by them. So game 3 was definitely eventful and had a lot of controversy. Like I said, just the umps completely fucked up in the first inning. Clark Schmidt taking on Peyton Battenfield, making his major league debut, and Battenfield really did well. Battenfield gave Cleveland a chance to win. He was given a lead, and by the time he got out of there, it became closer, but he really did a nice job. And for Clark Schmidt, this was probably his best outing. It's not saying much. The line doesn't look great, but he wasn't hit hard. He didn't really have much swing and miss stuff, but he was better, I guess. So, take that for what it's worth. I still don't love what I'm seeing from Clark Schmidt, but, it was all right. No DJ LeMahieu in this game. No Gleyber Torres in this game. Well, Gleyber Torres would eventually come in. But, a little bit of a different lineup. Anthony Volpe leading off for the first time. And, for Volpe, this was a better series. I think he's coming back around. He's not necessarily putting up the stats, but he's looking a little bit better. So, first inning, Yankees have a chance again, as we've seen, to score, but they don't. Volpe would lead off double, and then Judge strikes out. So Aaron Judge, again, it was a rough series for him. And then Anthony Rizzo grounds out. Nice play by Ahmed Rosario. And then Giancarlo Stanton grounds out, so they don't score. Then the first inning, it's the Aaron Hicks show in center field. Aaron Hicks cannot play center field. I know that they were kind of in a desperate spot. They really were, because they wanted to have Judge DH, right? I guess if you want, I mean, look, you could have easily put Judge out there in center, but with no Glaber, no DJ, and no Judge in the outfield, you kind of had to go with Hicks in center field. And so that kind of sucks. So yeah, Stephen Kwan singles to start the inning, and this is a play that Hicks should have made. Hicks is always playing too deep. He's always playing too deep, and the ball drops in front of him. Then he kind of makes a nice play on a Rosario line out. Then it's a Jose Ramirez double, second and third, and then the controversial play happens where it is a Josh Naylor fly ball to center field. Initially, it looked like Hicks might have caught the ball. He didn't. It dropped. It wasn't an easy play, but it dropped. But Jose Ramirez, with what could have been bad base running, they throw to second, and so they actually get the out, and the out would have been recorded before Kwan touched home. So at this point in time, it looks like, wow, the Yankees come out of this with no runs against, but then they show a replay on the scoreboard in Cleveland, and this sets up a huddle by the umpires, and it was just done. I said it earlier, it was done terribly. It was well past 15 seconds. Francona didn't challenge it. Francona did not challenge it, and Boone is irate, and so they end up reversing the call. It ends up being a run for Cleveland and first and third, one out. So you go from inning over, no runs, to run in first and third, one out. A huge difference, and almost cost the Yankees the game. It really almost did. It was just absolutely awful and a joke. And so Aaron Boone gets ejected. Andres Gimenez strikes out, but then Josh Bell gets an RBI single, and then a Will Brennan ground out. So it's 2-0. I will say this, though, again. The right call was made, but the process was completely inept and just off. So then Battenfield, he's pitching well at this point, and then you get, in the third inning, a home run by Ahmed Rosario. Cleveland's got a 3-0 lead at this point. Not feeling good about things, especially because in the fourth, another 1-2-3 inning for Battenfield. But then Schmidt is able to finish off on a high note, gets a couple of strikeouts to end the fourth inning. And then in the fifth, the Yankees, start to come back. And it begins with Oswaldo Cabrera. Cabrera gets a single with one out. Then it's a kind of Falefa single. Then Higashioka almost hits a 3-run homer. This was another weird play. Higashioka off the top of the wall, but, unfortunately, not a home run. So he should have been at second in the first place. I don't know why he wasn't. But what was going to happen was it was going to be a run in, first and third, one out. But I'm not sure if Connor Falefa was running home or if he was going to stay at third. I'm not positive. He might have been staying at third. But Jimenez tries to throw home, and he hits Larry Vanover in the head. And so in that happening, and I'm not even going to say Carl. I mean, obviously, I don't want him to be hurt, but it is weird how this benefited the Yankees. This umpire getting hit in the head does benefit the Yankees. The ball rolls away, and so Connor Falefa dashes home, and Higashioka goes to second. Weird game. So it's 3-2 Cleveland, and that would remain the score. Nick Sandlin finishes out the fifth, so Battenfield wouldn't even be in line for the win. Marinaccio comes out in the fifth. It gets a little bit dicey, but he's able to get out of it with no runs. In the sixth, Sandlin is able to get through the heart of the order with Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton. Michael King is looking better. Michael King gives you no runs in the sixth. And then in the seventh, Trevor Stephan, the former Yankee prospect who was picked up in the Rule 5 draft by Cleveland a few years ago, it is a home run by Franchy Cordero. Ties the game. Franchy, it's his fourth homer as a Yank. It's just been an amazing story. And so we're tied up at 3. And then King does the job in the seventh again. Michael King looking better again, which is great to see. In the eighth, James Karinchak comes on and pitches a 1-2-3 inning. Wandy Peralta in the bottom of the eighth after a Connor Falefa error. And so that's the thing with him is he made a nice play earlier, but just a terrible error. But Wandy does what Wandy does, so it doesn't matter. And we go to the ninth. Emmanuel Clase is on for the Guardians, and with one out, Giancarlo Stanton reaches on a single, but Ahmed Rosario really fucked up. Rosario should have set and through with Stanton as the runner. It's a bounce. Josh Bell does not scoop it, and it goes into the dugout. So Stanton is awarded second base, and that's where they pinch run Gleyber Torres. Then Cordero strikes out. but then Oswaldo Cabrera is the hero. Oswaldo Cabrera, it's a long single. It was a single that went off the wall, an RBI single that stores Torres, and so Oswaldo Cabrera comes through off Clase, gives the Yanks a 4-3 lead, and now we go to the bottom of the ninth after a Connor Falefa ground out. Clay Holmes is on it. For Clay Holmes, he scares me. He scares me. He ends up getting the job done, but he really scares me. And to me, he should not be the ninth inning guy. I think it should be a closer by committee situation, but you can tell it's going to be Holmes. It starts out well. It's a ground out by Josh Bell. Then on a 1-2 count to Will Brennan, he hits him in the foot. That's the type of stuff you get from Clay Holmes sometimes. Then Miles Straw grounds out. Miles Straw is so fast that he beats out anyone else. That's a game-ending double play. So we run our first 2 outs, and then Clay Holmes loses the control again. He walks Oscar Gonzalez on 4 pitches, and then Steven Kwan, he walks him as well on 5 pitches. And then Ahmed Rosario, bases loaded, 2 out, 4-3 game. Holmes is able to find it at the very end. And some of these pitches were a little bit off, but you can't blame Rosario for going for him. He strikes out Rosario down, and so Holmes is able to get the job done, but he does scare me, and the Yankees win this series. They are now 8-4. They are now 4-0 in, like I said, these rubber games. And, this is the 5th time in franchise history that the Yankees have started 4-0 to start series. So it's a really nice job, especially with Tampa Bay off this 11-0 start as I'm recording this. It's nice the Yankees are still doing what they're doing. So now it's a 4-game set against the Twins, and we know the Yankees have always had a lot of success versus the Twins. It'll be Joe Ryan versus Johnny Brito. It'll be 4 right-handed starters for the Twins. The Yankees will not see Sonny Gray, the former Yankee, pitch today, and they also will not see Joey Gallo, who just hit the injured list. That would have been an interesting reception. So it'll be Tyler Mahle versus Nestor Cortez in the second game. Game 3 will be Kenta Maeda versus Domingo Germán, and the fourth one is the best pitching matchup, Pablo Lopez and Garrett Cole. So this will be an interesting 4-game series. I'm hoping the Yankees can continue their winning ways. Hey, Minnesota's 8-4. They are 8-4, but the Yankees versus the Twins, it's clockwork, and I would hope for 3 out of 4. Honestly, splitting the series would be a mild disappointment, but really, the Yankees, I'm hoping they can just continue winning series, right? And so hopefully 3 out of 4 happens here. There will be no rubber game because obviously there will be an even amount of games in the series, assuming that there are no rainouts. So again, the Yankees do the job. It's a successful road trip. They go to Baltimore, they win 2 out of 3. They go to Cleveland, and they also win 2 out of 3.